He was born Marion Robert Morrison in Winterset, Iowa, on May 26, 1907. The house still stands today. Just 2 years later, his parents changed his middle name to Michael after his younger brother arrived. That was the first time his identity changed, but it wouldn't be the last. His father, a pharmacist, moved the family west in 1916 because of health problems. They landed in Glendale, California, hoping the dry climate would help. That move changed everything. In Glendale, the boy who would become a screen legend got his first nickname. It wasn't from a movie or a stage, it came from a dog. He had an Airedale Terrier named Duke. The two were always together. Locals at the fire station started calling the boy Big Duke and the dog Little Duke. The name stuck. Duke was who he was now, long before John Wayne was ever spoken. He grew fast. In high school, he stood 6 feet 4 inches, weighed 225 pounds, and became captain of the football team. His size and power got him a football scholarship to the University of Southern California in 1925. It seemed like football, not film, was his future. But in 1926, everything changed again. One day at the beach, he went body surfing and got slammed by a powerful wave. The impact badly injured his shoulder. He tried to play through the pain but couldn't. USC cut him from the team. That meant his scholarship was gone, and just like that, so was his college education. With no money and no plan, he started picking up odd jobs around Hollywood. His old football coach had friends in the film industry. One of them, silent movie star Tom Mix, helped him land a job moving props for director John Ford. It wasn't glamorous. He was a glorified furniture mover, but it got him on set, where he paid close attention to how movies were made. Ford noticed the tall, quiet kid with a curious eye. He started giving him small parts just to see what he could do. Between 1926 and 1929, Wayne appeared in a few sports-themed movies including Brown of Harvard, The Dropkick, and Salute. He was still Marion Morrison then, just another background player with a square jaw and a football build. But something about him stood out. He moved differently, talked differently, and Ford liked that. Then came 1930. Raoul Walsh, a director working on a big-budget western called The Big Trail, saw the young prop boy walking across the lot and decided he looked like a leading man. But Marion Morrison didn't sound like a star. Walsh wanted to call him Anthony Wayne after a Revolutionary War general. The studio boss said no, it sounded too Italian. So they landed on John Wayne. Just like that, a star name was born. Wayne wasn't even in the room when they picked it. He was paid $75 a week and given the lead role in The Big Trail. It was filmed in a fancy new 70mm format, and cost over $2 million, insane money for the Great Depression. But most theaters couldn't even show it. The film flopped. Wayne went from big break to rock bottom in months. After that, studios didn't want him. In The Deceiver, 1931, his job was to play a corpse. That was the only role he could get. From 1930 to 1939, he made nearly 80 low-budget westerns. They were shot in 4 to 7 days. The pay was terrible, just $1,750 per movie at first. Later he earned $6,000 per film, still nowhere near A-list pay, but he kept going. He studied everything. He learned from Yakima Canet, a legendary stuntman. They invented a new style of fight scenes using wide punches and clever camera angles. Wayne also copied the slow walk and calm voice from old cowboy stars like Harry Carey. He developed his look, his style, and his confidence in those forgotten films. It was late 1938, and westerns were nearly dead in Hollywood. Big studios wanted flashier stories. Serious directors stayed away from cowboy movies. But John Ford didn't care. He had a vision, and it started with a movie called Stagecoach. He told the studios he wanted to cast a mostly unknown actor for the lead, John Wayne. The studios said no, they wanted Gary Cooper. Cooper was a big star. He would guarantee ticket sales. They even said they'd fully fund the movie if Ford just made that one change. But Ford flat out refused. He walked away from deals. He dropped producers. Even David O. Selznick backed out when he learned Ford wouldn't budge. Eventually, Walter Wanger came in. He agreed to fund the film, just $250,000, barely half the final budget. But even Wanger pushed for Cooper. He also wanted Marlene Dietrich as the female lead. Nobody believed in Wayne. Nobody except Ford. He stood his ground. That one decision changed movie history. The strangest part, Wayne didn't even want the role. When Ford told him about Stagecoach and asked for casting suggestions, Wayne recommended someone else, his friend Lloyd Nolan. He thought Nolan would be better. He didn't think he was ready. Wayne had been stuck in cheap westerns for 10 years. His first big movie, The Big Trail, flopped. He'd been doing stunts, riding horses, and wearing dusty costumes ever since, but always in the background. So when Ford asked, "Hell Duke, can't you play it?" it wasn't just a joke. Wayne was scared of failing. He almost gave away the role that would define his whole life. If Ford hadn't pushed, Nolan might have become the face of westerns instead. Then came March 3, 1939. Stagecoach hit the screen, and everything changed. Around 30 minutes into the film, a coach rolls across Monument Valley. The camera shows a lone rider stopping the coach. The shot zooms in fast. Suddenly, there's Wayne, spinning a rifle with one hand, looking straight into the lens. That single moment launched a legend. Ford had picked the colors of Wayne's clothes carefully so they'd look sharp in black and white. The lighting, the timing, the framing, it all hit perfectly. It only lasted 15 seconds, but it was enough. Audiences knew right away. This wasn't just another cowboy. This was a star. Even Wayne knew it. Decades later, in Big Jake, he paid tribute by reversing the scene, pulling back the camera instead of zooming in. A small nod to the moment that changed everything. By the time World War II broke out in 1941, Wayne was finally a star. But he didn't go to war. That decision haunted him for the rest of his life. He was 34, with back injuries, a torn shoulder, and an ear infection, all of it from his stunt-heavy career. If he had taken a military exam, he likely would have been classified 4F, unfit for service. Still, rumors flew. People accused him of dodging the draft. Ford, now working for the OSS, brought Wayne in during 1944. He sent him to the Pacific as part of a USO tour, but the trip had a secret purpose. Wayne gathered intelligence and reported on troop morale. He drank with soldiers, shared their fears, and took notes. One night, a bombing raid hit the area where he was sleeping. When he got back, the OSS gave him a plaque. Wayne called it a copperhead, just a piece of metal that didn't mean much. But the soldiers remembered him. He told their stories back home. He described the heat, the bombs, the need for letters from loved ones. Maybe he didn't fight, but he gave the war a face audiences could believe in. From 1942 to 1945, Wayne took that face to the screen. He made one patriotic film after another. In Flying Tigers, 1942, he played a pilot defending China. It made $1.50 million. Huge success for Republic Pictures. Then came The Fighting Seabees in 1944. He played a builder-turned-fighter. The action scenes were bigger, and Wayne looked more confident than ever. The movie became Republic's biggest hit. Then, in December 1945, he teamed up with Ford again for They Were Expendable. It told the story of the Navy's PT boats, after Pearl Harbor. This time the tone was darker. The heroes didn't win. They held the line and lost. But everything wasn't so smooth behind the scenes. John Ford had seen real combat. He was on Omaha Beach during D-Day. He'd filmed the Battle of Midway with bullets flying overhead. He wore his Navy uniform on set like a second skin. John Wayne, on the other hand, had stayed in Hollywood. He had a deferment. He made movies about war, but he hadn't lived it, and Ford hated him for that. From the first day of filming in the Florida Keys, the air was thick with tension. 6 real Navy PT boats were used to make it feel authentic. Ford made sure everything screamed real war, everything except Wayne. While the credits proudly listed the Real military ranks of other actors, Ford left Wayne blank. No title, no honor, just his name. The message was loud and clear. And then came the salute. It was May 12, 1945, just 4 days after V-Day. Wayne had to salute an admiral in one scene. Simple, but not for Ford. He made Wayne do it again, then again, and again. 14 takes later, Ford exploded in front of 50 people. "Duke, can't you manage a salute that at least looks as though you've been in the service?" The room went silent. Ford didn't call him by his character name, he called him Duke. This wasn't about acting. This was personal. Wayne's face turned red. Everyone saw it. Everyone felt it. Then something happened no one expected. Wayne stood there frozen. He didn't yell back. He didn't argue. He just took off his hat, placed it down, and walked off set. Past the crew. Past the extras. Gone. It was the only time in his entire career, over 170 films, that he ever did that. He drove back to his hotel and packed. He was done. MGM lost $20,000 that day. The next morning, Wayne came back. No one said a word. Not him. Not Ford. Just silence. Filming went on, but the crack between them never closed. That night, someone finally stood up. Robert Montgomery wasn't just an actor, he had commanded PT-107 in real combat. He walked straight into Ford's office and let him have it. "Don't you ever speak like that to anyone again," he said. "You of all people should know the difference between the man and the uniform." Ford didn't say a word. He knew he'd crossed the line. After that, he never mentioned Wayne's war record again. But he never warmed up either. The rest of the shoot was cold and formal. Wayne had faced the bullets now, just not the kind you find in war. But Wayne's battles didn't stop when the cameras stopped. In his personal life, the war was already raging. His marriage to Josephine Saenz had started in 1933. They had 4 kids. But in 1940, she found out about his affair with Marlene Dietrich. The chemistry between Wayne and Dietrich was undeniable, on screen and off. Josephine was heartbroken. She even went to a priest to try and save the marriage. It didn't work. They divorced on December 26, 1945. Just 3 weeks later, Wayne married again. He had met Esperanza Chada Bauer in Mexico City in 1941. While still married to Josephine and while Chada was also married, their connection was instant and messy. They finally married on January 17, 1946. The wedding was fast, the decision impulsive. Ward Bond stood beside him as best man. Chada brought her mother to live with them, and neither of them spoke English in front of Wayne. That alone caused constant tension, but it was just the beginning. Wayne later said the marriage was like shaking 2 volatile chemicals in a jar. Chada didn't like his devotion to his kids. She wanted to act again. Wayne didn't want her to. She started drinking. Their home life got strange. Sometimes Wayne had to sleep on the couch while Chada and her mother took over the bedroom. He stayed for 7 years, not because it worked, but because he didn't want to fail again. Then came the night with the gun. It was after filming Angel and the Bad Man. Wayne went to the wrap party but didn't invite Chada. She called the restaurant. Everyone had left. As the hours passed, her jealousy boiled over. Drunk and angry, she thought Wayne was with another woman. When he finally came home, he had to break a window to get in. Chada heard the noise, grabbed a gun, and walked toward the sound. She saw a figure on the couch and raised the weapon. Her mother screamed, "Don't shoot! That's your husband." Wayne had passed out, apparently saying he'd been at co-star Gail Russell's house. Chada didn't believe him. In court, she accused him of everything: drunkenness, cheating, violence. She said he beat her. She said he bought a car for Gail Russell. Wayne hit back with his own accusations, saying Chada invited other men over while he was away. The studios wanted the scandal buried. Both sides got divorce decrees. Chada walked away with $500,000, $50,000 a year for 10 years. Wayne kept the house but planned to sell it. He wanted nothing left of that nightmare. Chada died in 1961 of a heart attack at just 40 years old. Wayne never spoke about her again. John Wayne had always been seen as the all-American hero. But something changed in 1948. He teamed up with director John Ford and made Ford Apache. It wasn't just another cowboy movie. This time, Native Americans weren't shown as villains. They were real people, with motives, pain, and pride. Wayne played Captain Kirby York, a calm, practical leader. But Henry Fonda's character, Colonel Thursday, was arrogant and blind to reason. Their clash wasn't just personal. It was about power, pride, and the cost of ignorance. The big battle scene was shot in Monument Valley using real Navajo extras. It looked epic but felt raw, even tragic. A year later came She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. Wayne played Captain Nathan Brittles, an aging soldier on his last mission. The film was in Technicolor, and every shot felt like a painting of a West that was fading. Then in 1950 came Rio Grande. Wayne's character was back, this time torn between duty and love, trying to reconnect with his estranged wife while fighting Apaches. These 3 films, now called the Cavalry Trilogy, changed Westerns forever. They weren't just about good guys and bad guys. They were about people, about choices, and about how war changes everyone. Ford Apache even holds a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes today. That's how far ahead it was. But right in the middle of all this, another film turned everything upside down, Red River. Same year, 1948. Different director, Howard Hawks. Wayne wasn't a hero in this one. He was Tom Dunson, a cruel, obsessed cattle rancher who slowly lost his grip on reality. His battle wasn't just with the land or the cattle, it was with his adopted son, played by Montgomery Clift. Their relationship felt like a Greek tragedy: love, betrayal, revenge. Wayne looked older, more worn out. His hair turned gray, his shoulders drooped. It wasn't just acting, it was transformation. Hawks couldn't believe what he saw. "I never knew the big son of a bitch could act," he said. The movie cost $2.7 million to make and ran for 133 minutes. Every second mattered. It was brutal, deep, and unforgettable. Then came Sands of Iwo Jima in 1949. This time Wayne wasn't wearing a cowboy hat, he was a Marine, Sergeant Stryker. Tough, strict, and scarred, not just physically. He had a failed marriage, a distant son, and too many ghosts from the war. The film brought in real soldiers. 3 of the 6 men who raised the flag at Iwo Jima were in it. Even the real flag was used. Wayne got his first Oscar nomination for the role. He lost to Broderick Crawford, but the nomination mattered. It told the world that John Wayne could do more than ride horses and shoot bad guys. He later admitted, though, that he thought his role in She Wore a Yellow Ribbon was even better. Still, Sands of Iwo Jima made over $4 million in the United States and opened doors to more war roles later. Off-screen, Wayne's life was shifting too. In 1954, he married Pilar Pallet. She was from Peru, an actress and flight attendant. She brought color and calm into his stormy life. They had 3 kids: Isa, born in 1956, Ethan, in 1962, and Marissa, in 1966. But it wasn't all smooth. Before they married, she had an abortion. And years later, she wasn't included in his $6.85 million estate. There was a prenup. Still, she stayed by his side, traveled with him, supported him during his health battles. Their relationship had love, pain, and loyalty all mixed together. During their marriage, Wayne reached new heights. He starred in The Searchers in 1956, and that film changed everything. In The Searchers, Wayne didn't play a hero. He played Ethan Edwards, a Confederate soldier obsessed with finding his kidnapped niece. But his real mission was darker. He didn't just want to rescue her. He wanted to kill her if she had been tainted by Comanches. His hatred was chilling. His silence said more than words. Ford shot the film in Monument Valley again. The landscapes were huge, but Wayne looked small, lost in his anger. That final shot, with him standing in a doorway alone while the family moved on without him, said it all. He was a relic. Today, it's ranked number 12 on AFI's list of the greatest American movies ever made. Wayne's role in it is still seen as the most complex character he ever played. John Wayne spent 15 years trying to bring the Alamo to life. It wasn't just a movie for him, it was a mission. He didn't just star in it, he directed it, produced it, and paid for most of it himself. When studios backed out, the budget exploded from $3 million to $12 million, and Wayne kept pushing. He even agreed to play Davy Crockett just to get funding. They built an entire 400-acre set in Texas. It was his dream project, but it broke him financially and emotionally. Reviews were mixed. The box office didn't cover the costs. Still, it earned 7 Oscar nominations. Wayne's daughter said it best: the Alamo became his own kind of war. In 1962, he reunited with John Ford for The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. It was shot in black and white, low budget, and it tore down the heroic image Wayne had spent decades building. His character dies forgotten and alone, no glory, no last stand. It was quiet, sad, and completely opposite of the legend. But the film doubled its budget, and critics eventually called it a masterpiece. That one line, "When the legend becomes fact, print the legend," wasn't just dialogue. It was Wayne's whole career in one sentence. And then there was Maureen O'Hara. They made 5 films together, but The Quiet Man stood out. No guns, no horses, just raw emotion. Wayne played a boxer returning to Ireland. O'Hara played the fire. The chemistry was real, both on and off screen. Wayne once said she was the only woman who was truly his friend, like a man would be. You could see that bond in every scene they shared. Audiences felt it. It wasn't acting, it was personal. By 1963, Wayne was 56. Most actors fade by then, he didn't. He adapted. In McLintock, he was older, funnier, more relaxed. He made fun of himself, and people loved it. The film made $14.5 million, which today would be over $130 million. He stayed on top because he knew how to evolve without losing who he was. He even turned down Dirty Harry because he thought he was too old for it, and he was right. That role needed Clint Eastwood. Then came True Grit in 1969. Wayne was 62. He played Rooster Cogburn, a drunken, one-eyed marshal who didn't look like a hero, but still was one. It was messy, loud, and perfect. Wayne finally won the Oscar for Best Actor after 40 years in Hollywood. He stood on stage and said, "Wow. If I'd known that, I'd have put that patch on 35 years earlier." The film made over $31 million. It proved he wasn't done, not yet. But in 1964, everything changed. Doctors found a tumor in his lung. He smoked 5 to 7 packs of unfiltered Camels a day. They had to remove his entire left lung and 4 ribs. He nearly died. Most people would have quit. Not Wayne. He switched to cigars and went right back to work. He filmed in Mexico just months later. He shot action scenes, rode horses, even fought fires and hellfighters. His daughter said he beat cancer through grit. That grit never left him. He didn't hide his illness. In a time when people whispered about cancer, Wayne stood tall and talked about it. He filmed ads, gave speeches, told people to get screened. Later, when cancer came back, this time in his stomach, he made one final request to his kids: "If my name is good for anything, use it to help people beat cancer." That's how the John Wayne Cancer Foundation was born. Since then, it's trained hundreds of doctors, taught thousands of kids about prevention, and poured millions into research. His fight became a legacy. In 1976, Wayne made his last film, The Shootist. He played a dying gunfighter with cancer. It was fiction, but it felt real. He wasn't terminal yet, but he was already struggling. The high altitude on set made it hard for him to breathe. He got the flu. Production shut down. But he kept going. He finished the film. Critics called it one of his best. Roger Ebert said you could see the fear in his eyes, something you never saw in a John Wayne character before. It was the perfect final act. His last public appearance came at the 1979 Oscars. He looked weak. Cancer had taken its toll. But he wore a wetsuit under his tux to hide the weight loss. When he walked out, the crowd rose to their feet. He smiled and said, "That's just about the only medicine a fellow would ever need." That night he told Cary Grant that Christopher Reeve was the new man. "He's taking over," Wayne said. 11 days later, he was in the hospital again. 2 months later, on June 11, 1979, he died. His children were by his side. John Wayne didn't slow down, even after death. Just weeks before he passed, on May 26, 1979, he received the Congressional Gold Medal. It was a big deal. It meant the country saw him not just as an actor, but as someone who helped shape American culture. Then, on June 9, 1980, President Jimmy Carter gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award a civilian can get in the United States. By then, Wayne had already acted in 179 films and TV shows, from silent movies in the 1920s to hits in the New Wave era. For over 30 years, he was one of the top box office stars in the country. He won an Oscar for True Grit in 1969, playing Rooster Cogburn, a role that became part of Hollywood history. But he wasn't just famous for movies. In 1964, after beating lung cancer, he went public and called it the Big C. That nickname stuck. He said it so others wouldn't be afraid to talk about cancer. Some people warned him it would hurt his career. He didn't care. He wanted people to get checked. Still, not everything stayed clean. In 2019 and 2020, old comments from a 1971 Playboy interview stirred backlash. People started asking if his name should be removed from Orange County Airport and a USC exhibit. The legacy got complicated. But the fight he started against cancer kept going strong. After he died, his family stepped in. In 1981, they launched the John Wayne Cancer Institute in Santa Monica. Then, in 1985, they started the John Wayne Cancer Foundation. His kids created it because he once told them, "Use my name to help others." That's exactly what they did. The foundation funds research, education, and awareness campaigns. Every October, during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they turn their website pink. His daughter Marissa says her father beat cancer through grit, determination, and amazing doctors. Now, they want others to have that same chance. The institute became one of the best in the field. It's now called the St. John's Cancer Institute. It has 9 centers working on different types of cancer, melanoma, breast, and gastrointestinal cancers among them. They train doctors, support survivors, and push forward with new treatments. People like Dr. Juan Antonio Santamaria and Dr. Maggie Denome lead the way. The Wayne name is still opening doors in cancer research. His granddaughter, Anita Swift, brings a personal touch to his story. She grew up knowing him simply as Granddaddy. As a baby, she even lived with him while her parents built a house nearby. She didn't know he was a Hollywood legend. To her, he was just a man who loved Christmas and made sure every kid got birthday and Christmas gifts. Her best friend was Alfred Hitchcock's granddaughter, and Anita thought he was the real star. But that changed when Hitchcock told her how much he admired Wayne's Oscar win. She even showed up in one of his movies. In The Alamo, 1960, 2-year-old Anita sat on her mother's lap in a wagon scene. She threw up on the actor next to her. "My first and last John Wayne movie," she laughs. Years later, when she played Fagin in her 8th grade play, Wayne showed up, sat in the crowd, and sent flowers every night. He even sent telegrams pretending to be Hollywood producers who wanted to sign her. Today, Anita helps keep his legacy alive through cancer work. But what she remembers most isn't the fame or the movies, it's the lesson he taught her: treat everyone with kindness. No matter how much you have or how little, you're not better than anyone else. That's the version of John Wayne she carries with her. And that's the version the world keeps trying to understand: flawed, fearless, and unforgettable.